Hello, I'm Patricia, a 34-year-old leading a relatively ordinary life, juggling a steady job while raising my son. Romance wasn't a significant part of my life until my 30s, when my parents, concerned about my single status, introduced me to William. He seemed ideal, deeply devoted to his family, which aligned perfectly with my values. We married, and for a while, it felt like I was living in a fairy tale. However, just 8 months into our marriage, everything changed. William called me multiple times one day, his voice strained and tired. When I finally reached him, he shared the devastating news. His father, Paul, had collapsed at home and was rushed to the hospital. Tragically, Paul didn't make it, leaving a deep void in our lives, especially for William's mother, who now faced this loss alone. In the wake of this tragedy, William devoted himself to supporting her, taking her out and planning trips to help ease her grief. Things became complicated when I won a trip to Hawaii through a contest. Instead of viewing it as a chance for us to escape and heal, William saw it as an opportunity for his mother. He insisted that unless I agreed to let him and his mother go on the trip without me, he would threaten divorce. His mother seemed pleased with the arrangement, but I felt manipulated and sidelined. Determined not to let them push me around, I resolved to stand my ground. I wasn't going to accept their plan without a fight. This situation unveiled a side of William the first hadn't expected, one willing to resort to emotional blackmail to get what he wanted. This realization was disheartening, yet it strengthened my resolve to confront the dynamics in our relationship and ensure my happiness wasn't continually sacrificed. It wasn't that William neglected me entirely, but when our plans clashed with his commitments to his mother, he consistently chose her side. His typical responses were, "Sorry, Patricia, Mom needs me," or, "We planned this with Mom a long time ago." While I outwardly agreed, internally I simmered with frustration. Why was it always me who had to yield? Wasn't William's mom being overly demanding? Despite this ongoing tension, I couldn't deny the bond William shared with his mother, and aside from this issue, our marriage appeared stable. I assumed this was simply the norm for some families. To find my own escape, I took up crossword puzzles that often came with prizes. This hobby became a perfect distraction during the times William was preoccupied with his mom. Occasionally, I would win gift cards or meals, which were delightful bonuses. One day, I struck gold. I won 2 tickets to Hawaii. Overjoyed, I double-checked my win multiple times before thinking about travel arrangements. I initially considered inviting William but hesitated, aware of his inclination to include his mother in our travels. After reflecting, I decided the tickets would make a wonderful gift for my parents. On my way home, I stopped by their house to share the exciting news. Bursting with enthusiasm, I exclaimed, "Mom, guess what? I won tickets to Hawaii." Her eyes sparkled with surprise and joy. "That's fantastic. You and William must be thrilled," she replied. I paused, then said, "Actually, I want you and Dad to have them." Mom looked taken aback yet touched. Unsure of how to respond, she asked, "Are you sure?" Her voice was filled with surprise and delight. I reassured her, "Absolutely. William travels enough as it is. I want you and Dad to enjoy this opportunity." While Mom's face lit up with joy, I noticed a flicker of concern in Dad's expression. "What's wrong?" I inquired, catching his worried look. "It's just a busy time of year at the company. I'm not sure I can take time off right now," Dad explained, his tone apologetic. "That's unfortunate," I sighed, feeling a mix of disappointment and understanding. Just then, Dad brightened up with a suggestion. "Why not take Amy instead? It was your prize, right? You should go and enjoy some quality time together," he proposed. Mom nodded enthusiastically, clearly excited about the idea. "That sounds wonderful." Feeling a renewed sense of anticipation, I applied for leave the next day, which was quickly approved. I then called the airline to arrange for the tickets to be used by Amy and me. On my way home from work, I stopped by a bookstore and picked up a guidebook for Hawaii. It had been ages since Mom and I had traveled together, and I was genuinely looking forward to it. When I got home, I expected the house to be empty but was surprised to find the lights on. I had assumed William was still out, but instead of his shoes, I spotted a familiar pair of women's shoes by the entrance. Confused, I walked in to find Kelly emerging from the living room. "Patricia, do you know what time it is?" she scolded as soon as she saw me. "Oh, Kelly, I didn't realize you were here," I replied, taken aback by her presence and tone. "It's not just about me being here. It's late, and William will be back soon," she continued, her voice carrying a note of reproach. "I'm sorry, I'll start on dinner right away," I apologized, rushing toward the kitchen, but Kelly wasn't finished. She launched into a critique of my absence, making it clear she expected more from me in managing the household. Her words stung, but they also highlighted the increasingly tight boundaries in my life that I was determined to expand. Kelly questioned my commitment as a daughter-in-law with a heavy sigh, suggesting my work was to blame for my supposed shortcomings. In her eyes, home should always come before career. She frequently used her spare key to drop in unannounced. Given her close proximity, clinging to outdated notions of a daughter-in-law's role, She expected me to devote myself entirely to serving William and his family without any objections. Her constant critiques made it increasingly hard for me to feel any warmth toward her. As I unpacked groceries and began preparing dinner, Kelly's voice pierced the air with urgent curiosity. "Wait, what's this, Patricia? Are you planning a trip to Hawaii?" She had stumbled upon the guidebook I had just bought. "Kelly, why are you going through my things?" I asked, frustration creeping into my voice. "That's not the issue. Why are you planning to go to Hawaii?" She shot back, her tone sharp. "I won a trip in a contest. I intended to give it to my mom," I explained, striving to keep my composure. "I haven't heard anything about this. Why should I?" Kelly retorted, her demeanor confrontational. Just then, William walked in, and Kelly wasted no time pointing at me, ready to escalate the situation. "William, Patricia's being thoughtless," she exclaimed. "Did she do something wrong?" he asked, looking at me with a frown. "I won the trip and wanted to give it to my parents, but since Dad can't go, I thought Mom could go with me," I replied calmly, hoping to clarify things before they spiraled out of control. "Why didn't you discuss this with me first?" William asked, his tone a mix of confusion and irritation. "It's my prize, William," I said, frustration bubbling up. "What's the big deal? You always travel with Kelly." "It's not the same. Mom and I only go on trips within the country. We haven't been abroad in years," William countered, his voice escalating. "How could you decide this without talking to me?" He slammed his hand on the table, cutting me off. "You're getting too bold for a daughter-in-law. Mom and I are going, and you're staying home," he declared, the childishness of his words making me wince. "Wait a minute, you've had enough of this trip," I shot back, trying to keep my cool. "If you're not happy, let's talk about divorce." I couldn't believe he was using the threat of divorce over something so trivial. It felt utterly absurd. Seething, I replied, "I won this trip fair and square. I've already decided to give it to my mom. Can't you see how rare this is? For once, she wants to go. When does it end with always putting Kelly first? You never consider how I feel." "I don't care how you feel," he snapped. "As I said, this trip is for me and Mommy. Stay home and behave," William insisted coldly, his dismissive attitude chilling any affection I had for him. It was clear I ranked below Kelly in his priorities. I couldn't continue to tolerate this absurd dynamic. "Fine, do what you want and enjoy your trip. You should have listened in the first place," I said calmly, trying to maintain my dignity. "Do what you want," William replied dismissively, a far cry from the caring person I once knew. Meanwhile, Kelly looked smug, reveling in her perceived victory over me. I needed space. I decided to leave the house while they were away on their trip, hoping the distance would give me time to think and figure out a way to navigate this deepening rift. I resolved to let William and Kelly go ahead with their vacation plans. The next day, I called the airline to transfer the tickets to William and his mother. However, the conversation took an unexpected turn. The airline representative's tone shifted to one of concern as they informed me, "I'm sorry, but once the participants are confirmed, we can't change them." "Is that so?" I asked, disappointment washing over me. "Yes, and this ticket requires the actual winner to be one of the travelers," the operator explained. "So if it's your husband and mother-in-law, the ticket won't be valid." "So, if I don't go, the ticket is useless?" I clarified, needing to be sure. "Exactly. Please check the documents we sent you. They outline this condition," they advised. After reviewing the documents, it became clear that only I, as the winner, could use the ticket, and it couldn't be transferred. I decided against telling William and Kelly immediately, planning instead for them to travel at their own expense if they chose to do so. That evening, after returning from work, I casually broached the topic of the Hawaii trip to gauge William's thoughts. "Hey, how about that trip?" I initiated. "Yeah, did you talk to the airline? Are Mommy and I all set to go?" William asked eagerly, his excitement palpable. "I did call them," I said, handing over the winning documents along with the tickets. "Here are the documents and the tickets." "I only need the tickets. I won't bother reading the documents," William replied dismissively. "But there might be important details in there, especially since it's an international trip," I suggested, hinting at the need to understand the ticket conditions. "I don't think I need to. Mommy and I are just excited about the trip." William brushed off my suggestion, his focus solely on the upcoming vacation. As he skimmed past the critical details, I felt a mix of frustration and resignation. It was evident that the essential information, crucial for the trip's success, was being overlooked in the excitement. "We've got it covered. We're efficient, unlike you," he retorted dismissively. "Fine, whatever, I'll leave them here just in case," I replied, placing the documents on the table, knowing he might overlook the vital information they contained. On the day of their trip, after making sure William had left, I packed my bags and headed to my parents' house for a quiet stay. While unpacking, the anticipated call from William came through. As soon as I picked up, he exclaimed, "Hey, what's going on? They're saying the ticket can't be used." "That's right, if the winner doesn't go, The ticket is invalid, I explained calmly, trying to keep the conversation neutral. What? Why didn't you tell me this earlier? William demanded, his voice a mix of confusion and frustration. I did tell you, remember. I mentioned it might be a good idea to read the instructions, I reminded him, hoping he'd recall our earlier conversation. You mean it was written in those documents you gave me? William asked, frustration evident in his tone. Exactly, it's your fault for not reading. This is ridiculous, he exclaimed, maintaining his agitation. So how are we supposed to get to Hawaii? William asked, his tone becoming increasingly frantic. Well, the operator did mention that if the winner doesn't go, you'd have to pay the full price, I replied matter-of-factly. Caught off guard, William sounded frantic, and I could hear Kelly's voice in the background, heightening their distress. William, what did Patricia say? Kelly demanded. Mommy, if Patricia doesn't go, we have to pay for the trip, William started to explain, his voice tinged with disbelief before handing the phone to Kelly. Let me talk to her, she insisted, ready to take over the conversation, presumably to find a way out of their predicament. I can't deal with this anymore, Kelly snapped sharply. I decided to let them sort it out on their own and hung up without another word. It wasn't long before William called me back. Hello? I answered, bracing myself for more drama. What now? I'm busy, I said coldly, not in the mood for more complications. It's not, what is it? William sounded flustered. I tried to buy the tickets, but the credit card isn't working, he explained. Huh? I don't know anything about your card, I replied, genuinely puzzled. It's not mine, it's your card, William clarified. Oh. So you used my card without my permission? I accused, my tone icy. I just need to fix it. My card was missing when I checked my wallet this morning, he said, and a sinking feeling hit me. I knew why he was having trouble. I knew you took it, William shot back angrily. Are you serious? I was planning to use that card for shopping abroad. You're always screwing things up, I fired back, my frustration boiling over. You freaking witch, William snapped, his voice harsh and devoid of remorse for taking the trip or using my card without asking. Exasperated, I retorted coldly, a jerk, who are you calling a witch, after constantly mocking others? You should just go to hell. My patience had completely worn thin. What? Who are you talking to like that? William asked, sounding both offended and taken aback. Who do you think? Calling out for mommy is honestly creepy, I retorted, emphasizing the oddness of his dependency. This situation had escalated beyond travel plans and revealed deeper issues in our relationship. If you love your mom so much, maybe you two should just stay together. I can't handle being married to a mama's boy. There's no point in us staying together, I declared, my voice thick with exasperation. Hey, calm down. If you keep this up, we'll end up getting a divorce, William threatened, his tone sharp. Fine by me, I was thinking the same thing, I shot back, my mind made up. I've left the house and don't plan to come back. Enjoy your trip with your beloved mommy. I hope you both have a fantastic time, I added sarcastically before hanging up, feeling a mix of anger and relief. Furious, I ended the call and immediately blocked William and his mother on all my devices. Then, following my dad's advice, I visited a law firm to initiate the process of ending my marriage. As I reviewed our finances to divide our assets, I discovered our joint account was empty. William had withdrawn money multiple times, coinciding with his trips with his mom. It was clear he had used our savings for their travels and had also swiped my credit card without permission. I demanded significant compensation from him, which resulted in him owing money and facing creditors. His once indulgent mother, who had always gotten what she wanted, now found herself in a strained relationship with William. They argued every time they met, a stark contrast to their previous closeness. It's ironic how things turned out, considering how spoiled he had been. Meanwhile, I decided to stay with my parents for a while. The ordeal had worried them, and I wanted to make it up to them by living with them and taking care of them. Being away from the chaos of my marriage helped me realize that what truly matters is having a loving, supportive family. Going through this divorce reaffirmed that belief, allowing me to rediscover what was truly important.